What's up, everyone? Welcome to NBA Grinders Live. I am not Dean 78902 756 903. I am TJ Zwarich, and I will be your host for today's show. And because we need someone on the show who can talk about something other than the Blue Jays being in the World Series, I had to bring in an expert. I had to bring in former millionaire winner Bobby Gomes. How you doing, Bobby?
Going well. Got a haircut in between shows. NBA is back in our lives. I have 3 kids, so NBA is going to be tough. I found this out the other night when I would have easily won a ticket to the 111 on the mid-season main event on the NFL, and I just during one of my swaps, I had all the kids in the room, and I forgot to turn a rule off, and I got someone I wouldn't have normally got on my team, and I ended up finishing in third, and I wanted to break my computer, but yeah, NBA is back. Tough to do with kids. I'm only playing one team tonight, but yeah, trying to help you out, TJ, if possible. Everyone else, break this down.
I got one aspect to my analysis locked and loaded. One guy that I know that I want to be playing as much as I possibly can this evening, but we will be getting to that. We got a 7-game slate on DraftKings, 11 games over on FanDuel. We'll mostly focus on the DraftKings slate, and then if we have time, we'll touch on those last 4 games at the end before the crunch time crew comes in there. But they will touch on it a lot more when they're, of course, going position by position on the FanDuel slate, talking cash games, talking tournaments, things of that sort. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, but most of all, hit the like button, help us battle that YouTube algorithm. And we, of course, do have a Film Friday today. No Dean, but we still do have a Film Friday. So we might as well go ahead and drop clue number 1. Should be no surprise. It's a little fun one. Jays. The first clue for Film Friday is Jays. So you get 1 guess per clue. Get your guesses in the Roto Grinders live stream Discord chat. If you want to win, you get 1 guess per clue in the Roto Grinders live stream Discord guess. No one's going to stop you from throwing guesses.
I think I got this. I think I have this one.
But you're sure not going to win if you drop it.
I might win if
Bobby, you got to drop them in the private chat, and then we'll see. We'll see if you can win before the field. But I'm happy to have you doing it today. But we got Jays as the clue number 1. Put your guesses into the Roto Grinders live stream Discord chat.
If I won.
You did not win, but
I'm getting at them.
It's not Big Daddy, but I do like Big Daddy. That's a great movie. How are you planning on attacking this slate? How many lineups you playing? And what are your thoughts in general on the 7-game slate?
Yeah, 7-gamer. Just playing one team. But if I was playing it from a 150 perspective, definitely would have some interest in this first game, right? No Porzingis for the Atlanta Hawks. I think that frees up some rim protection. I like Paolo and Franz a good bit. They're guys I'm definitely going to try to have leverage on the field on. I think I like Paolo more than Franz. There's also some pretty strong power forwards, Evan Mobley. Andrew Wiggins is going to be somewhat chalky at 5'8". He's got power forward eligibility. Andrew Wiggins also has small forward eligibility as well. So I don't know. The 2 main guys that I'm starting to really come around on are these Orlando guys, whether it be Franz Wagner or Paolo Banchero. I think Neil Alexander-Walker will get some ownership. Currently for the Atlanta Hawks, shooting guard, small forward eligibility at 4K. Center. Who's the chalky center tonight? Steven Adams. Probably going to be underweight, Steven Adams. I know Houston ran out that big lineup the other night. Worked pretty good in small stints, but I don't know. If people are going to play like 45% Steven Adams, I think I'd rather be under that. What's your thoughts on chalk Steven Adams? And you're muted.
Muted. Great start. I don't love chalk Steven Adams either. Not somewhere I think I want to go. especially considering that kind of pivots to what I was teasing earlier on, and that's I'm going all in on Victor Wembanyama tonight. I don't think the industry is going to project him correctly early in the year, and I don't think people are going to realize how freaking good he is and has gotten. And he's probably going to be breaking pricing records later in the season. No need to clip it yet, Steve, because I might be wrong. But let's put this timestamp and the date in the notes app, because this is going to be a 13-5, 14K player over on DraftKings later in the year, I think. And so I want to play as much Victor Wembanyama as possible. I'm playing 20 lineups. I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to see if I hit the lock button or if it's just like a 50, 60, 70, 80% thing. But Wemby is going to be my guy today. So instead of spending down at the center position for a guy like Steven Adams, I'm going to be spending up, and that's where I'm going to be looking to spend my salary today. Let's start going game by game. You talked about how you really like the first game on this slate. We have Atlanta going into Orlando, 236.5 total in this one. I just have lineup HQ up, so I'm just adding the two of them together. So if that is wrong, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure that was the correct fast math. But Orlando's favorites in this one, you brought up you like guys like Banchero and Wagner, I believe it was, unless it was Bane. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember which two of the three you said you liked. And then on the Atlanta side, no Kristaps Porzingis today. So you talked about Orlando, you liking them. Let's start there. Who are you going to be prioritizing on Orlando today?
Like I said, it's going to be Franz. It's going to be Paolo. I just think these guys with Porzingis out just can do a lot and basically get to the rim. You're removing Porzingis' rim defense if they're not like he's like this great defensive player, but there's a presence there that you're taking away from the front court of the Hawks, and should be a pretty good pace game. So I like the win, the getting to Banchero, getting to Franz in tournaments. On the other side, I don't think I'm going to have much Trae Young, but Neil Alexander-Walker, guys like that, I think are pretty interesting. Jalen Johnson, etc. My computer froze up, so
we gotta stretch out the show to make it last an hour.
Trae Young, what's his?
So you gotta wait till I say okay now Atlanta, because otherwise we're gonna rifle through the games way too quick, because it's not a big slate today. It's only 7 games, and I am not Dean. I don't have that masterful ability. We gotta take it nice and slow.
I need to be on shows with Dean because I say way too little.
I know that's why we gotta stretch it out. We gotta just Orlando first. We can't hit the Atlanta side yet. But sticking with Orlando, I don't mind Bane, but I agree he probably falls below Wagner and Banchero for me. I don't mind Tyus Jones as a salary saver today. He played a bunch of minutes in his first game of the season, and at only 3,500, we don't have a ton of super cheap salary saving options, so I don't mind getting to a little Tyus Jones at 3,500. Do you think that's a guy you'd be mixing in as a salary saver if you were playing more lineups?
I like the Bane call. Like I totally didn't talk about Bane. New situation for Bane in Orlando. I think I would prefer him more to Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones kind of falling behind the wayside for me. It's Bane, Banchero, Franz Wagner. And I think Wendell Carter also can take advantage at 5'4" of no Porzingis. So those are like the 4 main Orlando pieces for me. No Tyus Jones currently, unless something changes in terms of like projection and stuff.
Derek Rendering asking who benefits the most without Porzingis. It's probably Okongwu, but as we pivot over to the Atlanta side here, Okongwu is priced up. Like he's not cheap, so he's kind of priced to be without Porzingis today. He's all the way up at 6,600 on DraftKings. He is fine. He is in play, but definitely not like some absolute smash spot. Jalen Johnson, I think maybe gets a little bit of a bump. You mentioned Nikhil Alexander-Walker. I think he is a strong play today. And, just talking large field tournament stuff, this is kind of, again, like one of those Tyus Jones. If you want to go super cheap salary saving, I think you can take a shot on Mohammed. I don't know how to say his last name. Mohammed Gui. However it is, 3,200 power forward and center eligibility. Projecting for 14 minutes as a median. If that gets up to 20, 25, all of a sudden he could look like a really, really strong option today. And they don't have many big man left without Porzingis and with Okongwu bumped into the starting lineup. So he's somebody I could see stepping into some extra minutes today. And if you're playing a lot of lineups, you're playing some large field contests, I think you can potentially keep him in your pool as well. Not somebody I'd be targeting in single entry, but just as like a large field tournaments if you're running a lot of lineups, that kind of thing. Currently projecting him for fairly low ownership right now, but I see it's in the middle of an adjustment. So once we get that, we can double check. But right now we have him projected for 1.2% ownership. So a large field flyer you can go with in 150 lineups or a 20 entry max as well. Before we switch to the next game, I will say I forgot it's been a long time since I've done an NBA show. And so I forgot that we didn't do tiers. And so I was like running a tier idea by you. I'm texting Steve about like, should we do this or should we do this? I'm looking up national, like is the national day. And so I find out today is National Bologna Day. And so I'm looking up sandwich meats and I make a tier board for the best sandwich meats. And then I say to Steve, hey, wait, do we do tiers for NBA? Is this I can't actually remember if there's an NBA tier thing or not because we didn't do tiers last NBA season. That's a relatively new thing. And he's like, oh yeah, no, there's no tiers. And so I texted him. I was like, man, you just let me go on about sandwich meat for like the last 6 messages and you didn't think, hey, no tier board today, man. You don't have to worry about that. And so, alas, if something happened and we had to, for some reason, go back and do a tier board this week, we have a prep just in case, even though we're not doing tiers. I think I had turkey number 1. I'm a big turkey guy. I had a turkey sandwich for lunch. And then I think I had chicken 2, bacon 3, because bacon's great, but it's not great on its own. And then bologna, since it's National Bologna Day, 4 with tuna last, because tuna's gross. I'm not a tuna guy. Game 2. We got Boston going into New York. Boston, a shell of its former self. No Jason Tatum. Traded away Drew Holiday. No more Al Horford there anymore. Really kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Puts together. Makes it very, we got a very tight pool of players we want to play in Boston now. It's nowhere near as spread out as it used to be on their side. Going into New York is favored in this one. Karl Anthony Towns still listed as questionable, one of the biggest injuries we're still waiting on. Let's start on the New York side of things. Josh Hart questionable as well. Do you have any interest in New York?
Not currently. Things could change if guys are ruled out. I feel like I would like Brunson more if Towns was out. In terms of other players, like I think I'd be interested in OG. Who else would come up for me? Maybe some more Bridges. But currently, like, not a lot to, like, if Towns is in, it's really just Towns, Brunson, and OG, and I don't love either of the three.
That's kind of where I'm at too, is like I'm running 20 lineups and assuming Towns is in, he is in my pool. Brunson is in my pool. I'll probably get to maybe Towns in 2 of 20, Brunson in 1 of 20. But that's it for on the New York Knicks side of things. If Towns is out, that does really open things up, and that is news we should hopefully get before lock. I think he probably plays. But then, like, even on the Josh Hart side of things, if he's out, Maybe it's Jordan Clarkson. Maybe it's Miles McBride that potentially opens up some extra minutes. Maybe the $3,300 Ariel Hook-Porty, who's starting at center, plays a few more minutes. And so definitely a super interesting team if we get both out. A moderately interesting team if we just get one of them out, especially if it's Towns. And then if we get neither of them out, if everybody plays, probably just a Towns or a Brunson. But that's about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. If Towns is in, like, there's no really Towns, Brunson, OG for me, and that's pretty much it. I think all the ancillary pieces get boosts if Towns is out, and then we'd have to probably check our projections and come back to this a little bit, but nothing really with the current state of the Knicks, nothing really for me either.
Couple of guesses for Film Friday is not Remember the Titans. It is not Wayne's World, not Angels in the Outfield, Moneyball, Office Space. Some great movies there, though, but not the one we are looking for today. I guess I will go ahead and throw out clue number 2 for Film Friday today is QB1. We are sticking with the sports-themed clue. QB1 is clue number 2. So clue 1 is Jays. Clue 2 is QB1. Get your guesses into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord. You get either 1 free week of RotoGrinders Premium. You get 1 free week of Scores and Odds, your choice, one or the other. All you got to do is guess the film that I'm referring to. 1 guess per clue, and you get them in the RotoGrinders live stream Discord. Bobby, you got a guess ready for a second guess ready?
No idea. I quit the game already. It's already too difficult.
Already too difficult. Where I will say I empathize because it actually is really hard to guess while you're on the show. It's hard to focus on the same 2 things, get some lineups and things like that. So I do feel you. What about this Boston side? I don't think I have much interest in Boston. The mid-range guys like Queta or Simons, their projections are fine, but I think it's mostly just Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. And even those 3, I'm not in love with any of them for their prices. Are you a little more enthused with the Celtics than I am?
I'm a little more enthused with Peyton Pritchard. And I have slight interest in Derek White. Jaylen Brown, I just don't really want any part of at 8.6. Pritchard is the one at 6,600. I feel like he should be picking up more of the scoring. It's a 1-point game, 1-point spread. His usage should go up now with Tatum off the floor, and he would be the guy that I'm most interested in. Like, his ball handling has to increase, so Pritchard is the one at 6,600 who I want to be overweight to. What do we have him currently for ownership? Just looking quickly, sorry.
Pritchard, 12.6%.
Yeah, I'd be double that. I think Pritchard's a really good play on the slate at the point guard position.
I don't love him for that price tag. I just feel like he has to be, and he definitely can do this, but I feel like he has to get hot from 3 to pay off that price tag. But definitely something he can do. We did just get news on the Atlanta side of things that Zach Risache is out. So no Zach Risache today for the Atlanta Hawks. Bump up guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That's, I think, who would step into the starting lineup for him. But that's the first game of the night, so we will see. But Hawks players looking a little bit nicer now. Maybe Luke Kennard will bump up in projections. Nickeil Alexander-Walker will probably look significant better. And I think that makes my Mohamed Gee, the guy whose last name I can't pronounce. Somebody can write that out, how that's supposed to be pronounced in chat for me. That would be great. But I think that bumps up him as well. So Atlanta, bump everybody up a little bit. I think they are starting to look pretty good against Orlando without Zach Risache. But we will revisit that when we get the projection update. Anything else on the Boston side you want to talk about before we move on? Any White, any Brown?
White would be the one that I would much prefer White over Brown. I don't want to get too much leverage on White. I think the majority of the leverage for me is going to go to Peyton Pritchard. But yeah, being slightly over on White is fine. Nothing on Brown. I'm not a big fan of Jaylen Brown's game overall. So I like the 3-point shooters. I don't think Brown offers much spacing. Yeah, it'd be Pritchard and White for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not quite as high on Pritchard and White, but if I get to anybody in Boston, it's Pritchard and White. Brown's the guy that I lose as well. I think I'm keeping Pritchard and White in my pool, and I'll just kind of let the optimizer do what the optimizer does in terms of whether or not I get to those guys today. I don't mind them, don't love them, but certainly think that they're viable. Next game up, we have Cleveland, and we have Brooklyn. Brooklyn, big underdogs in this one at home. We'll talk about them first because I think Cleveland will take a little bit longer. I think you can just X out Brooklyn. I think you can just X out the Brooklyn side. They got a weird rotation already. They're playing a whole bunch of different players. I have two that I'm somewhat considering, but
Can I guess them?
I'm probably going to X them out. What are your thoughts on the Nets?
Yeah, Terrence Mann at 3,900, shooting guard, small forward eligibility. He's probably my favorite play in the Nets, and I think he's relatively strong. I will say that now Neil Alexander-Walker at 4K in that price range, Alexander-Walker would definitely be my favorite value. But I still think Mann has something to him there at that price tag. Claxton at 5,700. I think he's fine as a big on this slate. He isn't my favorite, but I'm currently like at the field when I just built for 150. Is Cam Thomas your other guy at 7,400 that you have the interest in? Or
Cam Thomas was one of them that, again, probably going to X out, but I somewhat considered. The other one was he only played 20 minutes, but it was Ben Seraph, just because he was a stats sheet stuffer in his first game in those 20 minutes, over a point per minute. Obviously, that could be something that heavily regresses, but that could also be maybe he's a good fantasy producer, and that's a guy who plays 22, 24 minutes this game. So Ben Seraph and Cam Thomas were the two that I was thinking about. Both likely going to get the X from me, but Seraph actually probably the more likely one to end up in my pool.
Yeah, I have no idea who Ben Seraph is, so
I didn't until yesterday.
Thanks for bringing him to my attention.
Or until his last game. But he started in the first game of the season, played 20 minutes, and looked pretty good from a fantasy perspective. So somebody that at super low ownership, I will keep in my pool. Cleveland. Now, this is a team that looks pretty interesting. I'll let you talk about them first, as I see you got two of them tagged in lineup HQ.
Yeah, earlier in the day, I was pretty much all over Mitchell and Evan Mobley, which I think the majority of just like everyone that stood out a lot with the team total. If I had to pick between the two, Mobley would be my favorite by a long shot. Power forward, center eligibility. I think Mobley is at 8,400. Just the ceiling that he possesses is versus a team like Brooklyn is very strong. The issue is if this game blows out, does he see the bench? Maybe. It's a 9-point spread. And I liked Mitchell, and I still have Mitchell tagged, but I will say, guy creeping up on me. Another guy's point guard shooting eligibility for Brooklyn is Lonzo Ball at 4,400. You know, I haven't refreshed since the non-news, but I still think I'm going to definitely have some interest in Lonzo. 4,400, can work the pick and roll with Mobley. Those would be my two favorite Cavs. And I think Mitchell is at 9,100, just someone you have to consider. I'm probably going to be right around the field now, but more interest now in Lonzo and Mobley, even though I do, have Mitchell tagged.
Sam Merrill and Lonzo Ball, I think, will be fringe guys for me if DeAndre Hunter plays. If DeAndre Hunter's out, I think those will be two of my favorite values on the slate as well. I like the Lonzo Ball call a lot. He looked really good in preseason and then followed it up with a very strong first game. And so really like the Lonzo Ball call. Merrill is another guy that I'll play a ton of if we get DeAndre Hunter out. If he's in, those minutes are going to be pretty spread out, and I'm not sure if I get to any Evan Mobley or anybody other than Evan Mobley or Donovan Mitchell. What are your thoughts on 6K Jared Allen? Kind of always the forgotten man in that offense when everybody's healthy.
Yeah. Is he a vengeful guy? I know this is a rematch. This is probably like the 15th rematch. I know Jared Allen currently with Garland out, it'd mainly be the guards. I was leaning Mitchell more earlier. Now I'm kind of with this price tag on Lonzo. I like him at 4,400, so he'd probably be my favorite. And then, yeah, like Mobley, 8,400 a good bit. So, yeah, my two favorites are Mobley and Lonzo Ball for sure.
Mobley Ball, and I do still like Donovan Mitchell, and so I'm with you on that Cleveland side. I like Mobley and Ball a ton. Donovan Mitchell, and I'm still on quite a bit as well. And then Sam Merrill, if DeAndre Hunter is out. Otherwise, I'm not going to be getting there. Detroit going into Houston. Detroit 6.5 point underdogs. Houston newly revamped team with Kevin Durant. Poor Chop, man. Big Houston fan. Gets this new look lineup. They're looking pretty good. And then Fred VanVleet. Season-ending injury before the season even begins. Let's talk about Houston first. Kevin Durant, like this is a pretty good team even without Fred VanVleet, I think. Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant, Şengün, going to be a lot of fantasy goodness, and I think pretty good real-life basketball as well.
Yeah, I think Steven Adams is the one that's going to stand out for most. I don't want to get crazy with Steven Adams' ownership chalk. I know he's not the sexy name like Şengün or Durant. This Houston team, they played a lot of minutes the other night. I think Şengün and Durant are going to fall by the wayside for me. I know a guy who's definitive, like Amen Thompson should definitely be seeing the most minutes on this team. So for me, he's probably my favorite piece from Houston at 7,700. Then he's going against his brother Osser. I think Osser's a really good play at 6,500 as well. Another guy who I considered prior to this, like Neil Alexander Walker becoming definitely more chalky, was Duncan Robinson for Detroit. Just provides that outside shooting guard, small forward eligibility. So yeah, I'm not really getting to the studs too much here. Not getting to much Cade. Not getting to really Şengün or Durant. It's more like the ancillary pieces in Amen and Osser Thompson, and the ancillary pieces being Steven Adams and Duncan Robinson that I think are probably my two favorites.
On the Houston side, I do think I like Şengün a little bit more than you are. I'm going to be off Kevin Durant as well, but Şengün just man, that first game just showed an absolute massive ceiling, and I kind of want to see if that is a new version of him within that offense, especially with no Fred VanVleet. If we are going to see a ton of assists, see him kind of play a Domantas Sabonis-like role that he often has, where he's passing the ball a lot, getting a ton of playmaking from the post as well. And so I'm going to get a little bit of Şengün, probably be off of Durant. I'm with you. I really like Amen Thompson today, both the Thompson twins, but particularly Amen as my first choice. And then I'll have some other guys on Houston that I do have somewhat interest in. Tari Eason played very poor first game, but I still think he is a little bit interesting off the bench. Steven Adams, you brought up, I'm going to try and be underweight on. And I think Eason is a good potential pivot off of him, because I feel like if Eason's playing well, picking up more minutes, that probably comes directly away from Steven Adams. And then he struggled from the field in the first game, but I think Reed Shepherd is going to be a really big producer for Houston this year. And so he's not going to have any ownership. He doesn't project very well, but I think Reed Shepherd, if you're playing a lot of lineups, is somewhat of an interesting tournament play coming off of the bench.
He's going to have to because they have absolutely no bench. So
exactly. He's kind of going to have to. And so I think there's going to be lots of opportunities. On the Detroit side, it's just Asar Thompson or Cade Cunningham for me. Nobody else on this Detroit side I don't have any interest in. Duncan Robinson, I just can't do it. Like, he's not cheap enough for me to be able to do it. If he hits 8 threes, then I'll lose tonight. But even if he does that, he probably hasn't done anything else.
Yeah. For me, like, I feel like I probably going to be under on Sengun, which could kill me because of the 70 that he dropped the other night. But I don't know. I'm not really, other than Amen Thompson, he's like the real guy that stands out for me. Even going to be under, I'd be under on Cade as well. I'm only playing one team, so I can't really play all. But even if I was playing 150, I don't think I'd have a ton of these guys.
But O. Jenkins bringing up a good point and helps that Sengun is power forward eligible now, gives him a nice added little bonus in terms of how you can play him. I will throw out one more clue for Film Friday because I will be honest, those first 2 clues, they're kind of tough. They'll make sense once I give you the answer, but they were kind of tough ones. Now are when things get broken open a little bit. Par was 3.5, as Dean likes to say. 3.5 was par on this one. And so clue number 3, pod. Pod is clue number 3. So we have number 1 is Jays, number 2, QB1, number 3, pod for Film Friday. Get your guesses into the Roto Grinders live stream Discord chat. 1 guess per clue. And if you win, you get 1 free week of Roto Grinders Premium, or you can get 1 free week of Scores and Odds, your choice. Next game on the slate, Miami going into Memphis. Should be a pretty good real-life basketball game. 2.5 point spread in this one. Miami will be without Terry Rozier, who has been arrested.
I think for a while.
Who has been arrested by the FBI. They will be without him. That's a good way to fill some time. What were your thoughts on Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, for different but supposedly somewhat related reasons getting taken out? But arrested, I should be clear. Not
I don't know, man. Like,
arrested.
Maybe eventually, like, the good that will come from all this is that we get like lineups early, so we'll know starters are in at like noon. Hopefully, I doubt it will ever happen, but it would be nice if we had starting lineups earlier. Knowing guys are out and not playing would be fantastic. Yeah, it's a weird situation. I don't know. Is Chauncey Billups fired yet? Is he still the coach? Like, what's going on?
Oh, he is. He won't be. No, they got
no. He's not gonna be the coach, but like I haven't seen like Chauncey.
They have their interim. Like I assume they have to wait until investigation goes through and stuff. But they got their interim guy there already. He's not going to be back.
Yeah, there's no way he could be back, right?
No,
the Twitter salutes are like breaking down like every possible situation. Like, oh, they fixed this game here, and I don't know. This was kind of bound to happen in the NBA, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, Billups' stuff sounds like it was mostly connected to like poker and like cheating people out of money and then threatening them. But then it also said that he could have been somewhat connected to the gambling ring, or people are insinuating that it could have happened. And I guess, yeah, Steve with a good point. It happened in baseball too. Don't forget it. I guess that was the original, not just 2 pitchers for the Guardians this year, but also the original sport people got in trouble for betting on was of course baseball.
Well, Michael Porter's brother got in trouble, right, last year?
Jonte Porter, yeah, in the NBA. I think wasn't that what Calvin Ridley got in trouble for originally in the NFL?
Yeah, I don't know. Gambling's probably not good. These athletes should probably stay away from anything that has to do with any of this.
Donovan Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins, Jaime Jaquez. That's who I'm interested in for the Miami Heat today. My brain just kind of accidentally started reading off players, and then next thing I knew, I figured that I guess that's what we're going with. Miami Heat. We'll talk about that side first. Mitchell, Davion. I think I said Donovan, but Davion, Andrew Wiggins, Jaime Jaquez. That's the only 3 I think I want to look at on the Miami side of things. I just kind of perpetually fade Bam Adebayo. I just never play him.
I'm playing him, so
he just very rarely beats me. I just feel like he's always going to put up a good score that you're fine with having in your lineup, but very rarely puts up a score that it's like you absolutely need to have it. And so no Bam Adebayo for me. I X'd him out of my pool. I'm not getting any Norman Powell, no Nikola Jovic for me. Just Davion Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins, Jaime Jaquez, who are kind of all guys that Wiggins will probably be a target, but the other two will just be like landing on a little bit of them, sprinkle in here and there. What are your thoughts on the Miami Heat?
Yeah, Hawkes I'm not on. Bam, I'm going to play or leave in my pool if he hits my one team, whatever. I can see getting leverage on Bam. It's a tough matchup versus Jaren Jackson, but like second on the team in usage the other night. Like Bam's fine. You're right. The ceiling isn't always there, but 8,100, I'll leave him in the pool, see what happens. Andrew Wiggins is going to be a value for everyone. Probably if I was playing 150, I'd probably be around the field on Andrew Wiggins. Small forward, power forward eligibility. Also doesn't get the greatest matchup. That's mainly Miami. Like I wouldn't try to get more of these Miami guys here, but yeah, that's the most interest I have from Miami.
Chad talking about Norman Powell, and he did have an incredible first game. Put up 19 shot attempts, put up a ton of fantasy points in his first game for Miami without Harrow. He's probably going to be taking a lot of shot attempts. I think I prefer Andrew Wiggins for the price, but I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for playing Norman Powell. I might sprinkle in a little bit as well. Obviously, if he does what he did in game one, he will surely prove me wrong and look like a pretty great play. Memphis side, kind of hard to talk about at this point because we have John Morant and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope listed as questionable. Morant, obviously, the far more important one, but Pope, still a guy that we project for 30 minutes. And so if he is out, that is going to be a lot more minutes that get distributed throughout the rest of this team as well. I thought you had a really good tag with Cam Spencer for a guy that will be interesting if John Morant is out. What are your thoughts on the Memphis side?
Yeah, Cam Spencer's fine at 3,400 if Morant's out. I also think Javon Small, who was the guy that made it onto my team the other night that would have won the satellite had I just like made a different rule. I didn't really want him on my team and he just hit for whatever reason because I wasn't paying attention and had three kids climbing all over me. But yeah, I think both of these guys are in play if Morant is to sit. I think I'd probably lean Spencer, but Small's there too. And he could be valuable, played 19 minutes the other night. Jock Landale at 4,200, center, utility eligible. I think he's fine. He's going to see some ownership, but getting leverage on him if you want to spend down at the center position where if you do spend down at the center position, that's where you're likely going to have your most hits. So I don't mind Landale. Especially if people are going to go to Steven Adams, they could just pivot to Landale. Not that it's much of a pivot, but it's there.
Yeah, it's a tough team to. I really want to see how projections look for this team if we get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and or John Morant out. The Morant one, obviously, that's huge, and we can load up on these guards if John Morant is out. But the Pope one, I want to see how those minutes kind of shake out as well, because with guys like Small and Spencer and Cedric Coward and even Jock Landale, their prices are so cheap that it really kind of does matter where we put these Kentavious Caldwell-Pope minutes, because even though he's not a big usage rate guy, those minutes I think are going to make some of these teams look pretty darn interesting on some of these cheaper guys look pretty darn interesting, even if it's just Pope out. So a team I certainly want to see how they shake up, because if people are out, they're very interesting. If Morant plays, do you have any interest in him at 8,900?
If Morant plays, no real interest in Morant. I'd just be hoping to get the value. Think if he was in, he's not going to see a ton of owners. Yeah, not much interest in Morant.
Don't think I would get to him much either, but 8,900 is nice and cheap for a guy like him, so I don't mind it. but I don't think I would be getting there. Chat mentioning that Eve Misi and Karl Makovic are both out, so that will impact this next game we're talking about. We'll give the projections a chance to update. We got the Spurs going into New Orleans to face off with the Pelicans. Wembanyama. I think I'm going to be using the lineup HQ to build my lineups after the show, but it may be SimLabs. Either way, if it's lineup HQ, I'm going to manually adjust Victor Wembanyama's projection to 70 and see how much it gives me. If it's SimLabs, I'm going to go hit the boost section or the bump section, whichever of the two it's called, and bump up Victor Wembanyama about 3 or 4 ticks because I want to get as much of this dude as possible. Start off with Wemby. Like, man, he spent half his season in the gym and the other half training with monks. He's different, man. He's different. He's 7'5". He trained with Hakeem Olajuwon for half the year and monks for the other half. He's gonna be a monster all year long.
How does training with monks help you in basketball, though?
And because it helps his mind, it helps his spirit, it helps him be calm. He's not worried about all the pressure. He's not worried about everything going on around him because he's just one with the universe now, man.
All right. Yeah, I was all over on Wemby the other night.
You're not buying the monk narrative?
I'm not buying the monks 11-3. I don't know, like maybe he's just a freak. Like he doesn't need that. He's playing. It looks like he's just playing a different game than everyone else because he's 7 inches taller than everyone else.
What about training half the summer with Hakeem Olajuwon? Did that excite you?
Yeah, that helps. He doesn't even need a hook shot though, because his hook shot's like a dunk anyways. So isn't that what is it? Hakeem the Dream used to do the hook shot or whatever? Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. I like Wemby. 11-3 is expensive. Yeah, I feel like I'm probably not going to have as much Wemby as you. Champagny at shooting guard, small forward, 4-3, I think makes a little bit of sense. Keldon Johnson, don't mind him at 4-8. Like these cheaper guys. Maybe I should just be playing Wemby. I don't know. He's a freak, right? Currently under Wemby, that could change.
You should. Chat says the people. J3 says the people are with me with the monks. Marie Donizzi reminding you it wasn't a hook shot. Kareem had the dream shake. It's a fadeaway. Also, just renowned for his post moves in general. People bringing
up need post moves. You can just reach over
and beer. And Alvin saying Wemby is still too cheap. I agree. He's going to be $14K this year, Bobby. $14K.
Yeah, he should be. But yeah, so 11-3, I probably should consider him more. I'm not. If I'm dead at the end of the night with my one team, I'm dead. But I don't know. Maybe you'll talk me into it when you give your analysis. It's a cop-out. I don't know. Like, it should be easy just to say, yeah, play Wemby, but 11-3, and I think I like some other guys.
We do have a winner for Film Friday after if par was 3.5, we got a birdie on this one from Ramazan. And so shout out to them. Let Steve know if you want the week of scores and odds or Roto-Grinders Premium. You are the winner. We will still play the rest of the game out. I'll give out clue number 4 right now for those that want to keep playing along at home. Clue number 4 is fake. Fake is clue number 4. Clue number 1 is Jays. Number 2, QB1. Number 3,
clues are almost as bad as Dean's clues.
Number 4, fake. And how did somebody get it on clue 3?
Who got it?
Ramazan. Ramazan's already won. We're just playing along for fun.
Who is it? Who is it?
Well, I can't tell you what the movie is until we're done. We're going to go through all the clues at the end.
Maria Donizzi has left my camp. So do the opposite of Bobby.
Do the opposite of Bobby. That was your number 1 supporter.
That's my guy.
You lost your number 1 supporter. What about elsewhere on the San Antonio Spurs team? You brought up a little bit of Champagny. Castle had a really good first.
I didn't say Castle. I don't mind some Castle. I tagged him earlier. Like point guard, shooting guard, 6,800. He's fine. I think with this value with like Neil Alexander-Walker now, who I think people are going to be jamming in, he's probably going to come down for me, but I liked him earlier in the day. Should benefit from Wemby, just them doubling and triple teaming Wemby, but my guard spot are going to be pretty locked up with Neil Alexander-Walker and whoever is going to be playing for Memphis, I would imagine.
Dylan Harper, a.k.a. De'Aaron Fox 2.0. Looked decent in his first game. Struggled with foul trouble a little bit. You buying into Dylan Harper, if not this game, just kind of for the season?
For the season, yeah, not tonight. But, yeah, 5,100 definitely has some offensive game to him. So, yeah, 5,100s. You could definitely take a shot tonight if you'd like. I'll take the wait-and-see approach there.
Just like you said, with like the Nickeil Alexander stuff opening up, we just got some value opening up on New Orleans. If we didn't get anything, those guys, I feel like we're just kind of like, hey, I don't mind them. Maybe I'll play him. A guy like Dylan Harper with the value that just opened up, like you said. I don't think we really need it today. New Orleans side of things, Misi out, Matkovic out. That is about close to 30 minutes in their big man rotation that is no longer going to be in there. Guy like Derek Queen might be picking up a little. Derek, I can't tell which that is, but it's spelt weird. And so that made me think maybe it's not just Derek, but maybe it is. Queen, either way, looks like he's going to be getting a decent projection. We haven't had the update hit just yet, but Zion Williamson at only 9,300 is looking pretty good. What are your thoughts here on the New Orleans Pelicans?
On the Pelicans, Zion, I think it's a really tough matchup with Wemby. Probably should have laid off the Ozempic for this one. Wemby is just going to be punching Zion stuff everywhere, I would imagine. Could have used the extra bulk versus Wemby. Sadiq Bey, 4,100. I think he's an interesting value piece. You get to some Trey Murphy, but no real love for the Pelicans currently. If you're a Zion truther, play Zion, but it just seems like a really tough situation versus a guy like Wembanyama.
Chat's turning on me. They turned on you earlier. Now they're turning on me. Derek Queen, apparently a Maryland legend. He had a buzzer beater for them in March Madness. I apologize. Derek and all of Maryland, whichever one it is, will mispronounce everything. I apologize to you all. And I think he's going to be viable. I think he's going to be a pretty good play today because we don't have the projection update yet, but he was a guy that was projecting well while Misi and Matkovic were still in the projections. And so I'm definitely not against playing some Derek Queen whatsoever at only 4K with the power forward and the center eligibility. Pretty nice. Washington and Dallas is the last game on the DraftKings slate. That means we'll almost certainly have to do the FanDuel one as well because we got 20 minutes until crunch time comes in here still. And so we got to pass the time, Bobby. We got to slow things down. But Washington and Dallas, last game here on the DraftKings slate. The Washington side, how's this for slowing things down? I don't want to play anybody in Washington.
What about CJ McCollum? I think that might change with I haven't rerun stuff yet since the latest update, but CJ McCollum, 6,500. I don't mind him. Mainly because I want to run back and get to my Anthony Davis on the other side, and hopefully this game stays close. Also, Cooper Flagg is someone I have interest in, but prefer Davis, power forward, center eligibility, 2K less than Wemby. He's my preferred.
I said we got to slow things down past the time because there's one game in 20 minutes. What do you think about Washington? And then you hit me with Dallas.
I was basically saying that I like McCollum because I need them to push back a little bit, and he would be my preferred option. Yeah, he'd really be the only guy. Not going to really force Chris Middleton at 6,300 and however old he is at this point in his career. I guess early in the season is probably the time you want to play him. But for me, it's McCollum. And I'll let you give Dallas analysis, but yeah, definitely have interest in the Dallas side.
No, you lead off for Dallas, and but I will just kind of lead the witness and say let's start with Cooper Flagg, because the chat just brought him up about like 4 times back to back. He played 32 minutes in his debut, started at point guard, really struggled from the field, but 10 rebounds, had a double-double, managed to salvage like a not terrible performance despite the poor shooting. Dallas as a whole, but first off, what do you think about Cooper Flagg?
Well, he'll definitely shoot better tonight because he's playing Washington, and I would imagine that their defense isn't the greatest. So I'm fine with Cooper Flagg, but Anthony Davis, like their rim protection is just not going to be there to deal with a guy like AD. He's the guy I want to get the most leverage on. PJ Washington, I know he came up 2K from 3K, but still likely $1,000 underpriced. Don't mind getting over the field on him. 5K price for PJ Washington seems pretty good. Clay and Derek Lively would be the only other two I'd consider. Would prefer Clay. 4,600. He obviously has 3-point upside. DraftKings obviously awards the 3-point bonus. So Clay would be the other guy I'd consider, but yeah, this is like AD. I think if everyone's going to be on Wemby tonight, I'm just going to play AD.
One of the reasons I love Wemby so much is everybody isn't going to be on Wemby.
Yeah, it seems that way, but then you hear, like, I'm looking at ownership too, and I'm listening to chat, and it seems like everyone's just rushing to play Wemby. Like,
I mean, the chat was just agreeing with my hype, but that's hardly indicative of what the field's going to do. Field follows projections.
Okay, so yeah, I'm still playing AD currently. I'm sticking with AD.
Nice and cheap at 9,800, power forward and center eligibility. I love AD tonight as well. I'll prioritize Wemby above the two, but I'm sure I'll have a few lineups that have both of them. That's one of the reasons I, threw out some names earlier, like a Mohamed Gee or some of this Memphis cheap value potentially if John Morant is out. Najee Marshall, guys like that. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, of course, because that'll allow me to pay up for both of these guys. And Davis is a priority for me, but not as big of a priority as Victor Wembanyama is going to be. PJ Washington has finally been appropriately priced, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. We had a nice free square with that the other day. Cooper Flagg's price has gone down, so I'm with you and Chad. I'm going to be playing a lot of Cooper Flagg. He's probably going to be my number one priority on this Dallas team. Only $7,100, and it's just kind of fun. You have a late night hammer, and it's Cooper Flagg. Like it's kind of fun to just be able to cheer for the probable rookie of the year late at the end. Maybe that's not a plus EV strategy, but it is fun to be able to cheer for a guy like that. What are your thoughts on Derek Lively? Apologies if you brought him up already, but Derek Lively with no Daniel Gafford tonight. Any interest in getting to him at 48?
I'm more interested in just going back to PJ Washington. Wouldn't have much interest in Lively. I don't mind the price increase because they just messed up the first night, right?
Yeah. Najee Harris, I do find interesting at only 37. He's a guy that they will kind of just go small. If Lively is out of there, they'll run some PJ Washington at 5, and then Najee Marshall is the guy that'll pick up those extended minutes. He played 23 minutes in the first game, didn't do much with them, but probably see that bump up a little bit higher here with the full game without Daniel Gafford. And so I think you can take shots on some Najee Marshall as well, but just know that floor is probably very, very low. We did have update in the projections for the New Orleans side of things. So let's give a quick refresh and scroll back over to the New Orleans side of things. We now have Derek Queen projecting not as highly as I thought, but still pretty well. 21 minutes over 23 fantasy points, almost 24. Sadiq Bey projecting pretty well now, and we have him for 28 minutes. Where are you going to prioritize these New Orleans players now that we have no Yves Missi and no who's the other one? Carlo Matkovic.
I'm saying the same. Sadiq Bey is probably going to be my highest priority. Maybe if I was playing 150, get to some Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. Zion would probably be around the field, but I think Sadiq's probably my favorite at 4,100.
Yeah, Sadiq and Queen, I think, are going to be the guys that I'm going to the most, but I don't mind the Herb Jones call. I wish he was a little bit cheaper, but certainly still viable. Murphy, I guess, is kind of one of those guys that you just want to play whenever he's healthy, but it's going to be interesting to see how Jordan Poole impacts his usage. Poole kind of came hot out of the gate, firing that first game, and then just kind of stopped afterwards and didn't really do anything after that first quarter. But I do wonder if him and Trey Murphy are going to cancel themselves out a little bit. Herb Jones has quite a few different ways of getting there, though, so I like that call quite a bit. Final clue for Film Friday. We did already have a winner, but for those still wanting to play along, get their guesses in, clue number 5 is Pill. Pill is clue number 5. We have Jay's, QB1, Pod, Fake, and Pill as the 5 clues. I will give a full breakdown as to how I got there with those clues, but we'll do some kind of expert survey style questions now to lead us into crunch time here, Bobby. Overall, favorite play on the slate, who do you
got? Favorite play, I'm going to go Evan Mobley, 8,400. That's why I'm not really getting too much Wemby, because power forward is loaded. Like, I liked Banchero earlier too. I think I'd lean Franz more now. But yeah, Evan Mobley, 8,400. Just think he has a ceiling that he can tap into occasionally. And if he's going to be, I think he'll be chalky, but I still think the ceiling's there. And I do think that more people are going to play Wembanyama than we currently realize. So I don't know if Wemby will make my one team, and I'll definitely probably have Mobley.
I'm going to lean Wemby as my guy today. I am very bullish on him to begin the season. I just want to be playing them as much as I can, because I think that price is going to go much, much higher as the season goes on. Even though he's not projected overly well, I still think that's something we're going to see a major bump on in the future. But I'll ask some more expert survey questions. If you want some full access to the expert survey, though, you should get yourself some Combo Pro, because it's only $5 more than NFL DFS for your first month. For a limited time, you can get Combo Pro for just $79.99. That's only $5 more than NFL DFS. It's an elite value, and it's the perfect time to do it because we have so many sports going on. We have NBA, we have NHL, we have MLB showdown stuff for the postseason, for the World Series. We have college football, we have UFC. I can't recommend the NHL content high enough. Tim, Dane, aka Moneyball, the whole team, they do such an incredible job with the projections, with the projected lines page, and of course in the Roto Grinders Discord for the NHL, where they're keeping you up to date on the line changes, the injury news, all the way up the lock. So get yourself some Combo Pro. And also, if you want to test out the NFL package before you get yourself a commitment to something like Combo Pro, you get yourself an NFL 3-day pass for the first month, first week, for just $9.99. Only as cheap as your lunch would be. Why am I trying to make things up instead of just doing the ad reads? But if you want to do it without the commitment for a limited time, you get half off a 3-day pass. Everything you need to crush the slate. You'll get our optimizer tool for lineup HQ, pack player projections, ownership percentages, and more. You get access to SimLabs, which is the easiest way to build smart competitive lineups in just a few clicks. And all of that for only $9.99. Don't miss out your chance to get a serious edge this week. It's the perfect day for Friday. You get all the content, get everything all ready to prepare you for Sunday's slate. So get yourself a nice 3-day pass. I will take people through the 5 clues that we had for Film Friday. Clue number 1 was Jays, because the Blue Jays are in the World Series that starts today. And what color are the Jays? They are blue. And there's a blue pill, red pill situation at the beginning of this movie. Clue number 2 is QB1, because the main actor, Keanu Reeves, plays the QB1 in one of my favorite kind of guilty pleasure movies, The Replacements. I think it's so much fun. I love Keanu in The Replacements, playing Shane Falco as QB1. So that's clue number 2. Number 3 is pod, because all the humans in this movie, they're stuck in pods. They're not living their real life. They are stuck in something that is fake. Clue number 4, is it fake? Is it real? Is perception reality? But they weren't living what they thought was their actual lives. They were stuck in a program. And number 5 is pill, alluding back to clue number 1, that red pill, blue pill situation. It is, of course, The Matrix.
You were a blue pill guy, correct?
Blue pill is the truth. Yeah, blue pill's the truth. No, blue pill. I always mix them up, which is which.
I think red pill's the truth.
Red pill's the truth. Blue pill is staying in the Matrix. How old am I?
You are 27.
Yeah, I want the truth. I'll take the red pill. If I'm young and I got energy to save the world, I'm a red pill guy. If I'm older and I'm just like tired, I just want to chill, then I'm probably a blue pill guy. If I don't have the energy to motivation anymore to do what's right, you know?
Yeah.
What about you?
Red pill. Red pill.
Red pill? Yeah, no, I'm definitely, up until I think like in my 60s, I'd probably be a red pill guy. As soon as I hit like my 60s, I'm probably like, I think I gotta just chill. I think I just gotta relax. I don't have anything left in the tank. That's probably, I think, how I'd be feeling.
That movie, that whole series, just stands the test of time. The Matrix, it's such a good film.
Well, it does. I can confirm that, because like that was one of those movies that I didn't know. Like I watched as a kid, but I didn't retain much. It was just like a movie watch, and so I just watched it last week for the first time in probably 20 years, and it holds up. It holds up. It is so great. It is really, really good one. So yeah, I'm with you. Definitely holds up. Definitely stands the test of time. Who is the player you're most afraid of being underweight on?
Probably Wemby. Like you've kind of talked about it all slate. Yeah. My one team, I'm likely not going to have Wemby.
I guess for me, like Andrew Wiggins is projecting for insanely high ownership right now. And if like he's actually going to be like 50% owned, that's not a guy that I want to play at all. But I don't know if he actually characterizes somebody as I'm afraid of being. I don't know if I'm afraid of him. Maybe Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, somebody I think I'm going to be full fading on this slate. And I think that is a guy that definitely has a big ceiling on this one. Chat saying we got some blue pill people in chat. A lot of blue pill people in chat. And then Derek saying the Matrix was meh. Matrix was not meh.
Go rewatch,
especially at the time. Oh, when it was on the cutting edge of VFX at the time. That wasn't meh. Come on, Derek. We love you, Derek, but it's not meh. Few minutes here until we have the Crunch Time crew coming in. We have Kevin Roth. We have Taylor Smith. We have our friend Beer doing. We appreciate him. We thank him for coming in and subbing in technically for me as I sub in for Dean. So shout out to Beer. We got him coming in here shortly. What team do you think is the one that you're targeting the most? Like, what's the one team you are going to have the most exposure to tonight?
Cleveland or Dallas?
Like the Dallas call. One, because I love me getting to myself a late night hammer. Two, because I think they're in a really great spot tonight. So yeah, I'm all aboard Dallas with you there. Don't mind Cleveland either. They're picking up Cleveland side's picking up a decent amount of ownership though, so I might be underweight on that side. We got J3 asking if we can touch on NHL briefly. It's all about the Devils tonight. NHL is easy for one because you can just play. You stack against San Jose, and then you look at all the NHL projections and tools to help you fill out your lineup after that. So I'm playing 5 NHL lineups tonight, and I have New Jersey Onslaughts in 4 of them, with one team that I'm playing San Jose's goalie against New Jersey, just in case he stands on his head. So it's all about New Jersey tonight in NHL. Get your questions in if you have them before the Crunch Time crew gets in. We can answer them, get them in the YouTube chat, get them in the live stream Discord. Bobby, you play any NHL yet this year?
Not yet, but definitely will hop in the NHL Discord when I do. I don't have any time, TJ. I have 50 kids. Like the new
true. 50 kids does make things a little bit tougher. We did just get news that Deuce McBride is starting, and so I can't help but wonder if that means that Josh Hart isn't going to play. We got an update that he and Karl Anthony Towns were true game time decisions, but if Deuce McBride is starting, I kind of feel like that would be for Josh Hart, right? Like, who else would he, unless it's for Huck Porty? I guess that could be Karl Anthony Towns starting at the center position and then Huck Porty getting bumped back to the bench. Either way, Deuce McBride, $4,100, probably gets a minute projection bump to, 28-ish now. You going to have any interest in him?
I had interest in Deuce the other night in 150. I didn't get to, if he's starting, I would imagine he would come up. What's his price? He's like 4,300 on DK.
4,100.
Yeah, I could have some interest in Deuce McBride. I'm only playing one team, so Neil Alexander Walker, I think, is like the top guard play at 4K. So
Christopher Ebbs in chat, he's pissed. He says we have time to talk hockey on a basketball show, but not time to talk about the last 4 games on FanDuel. Well, Christopher, I don't know what to tell you, but we asked for questions from the chat, and the question was about hockey. You didn't ask a question about the FanDuel slate. So if you can ask that, and then we will answer it for you. That's no problem, but it's on you, my friend. Top point guard play on DraftKings tonight from Butthole Jenkins. Who's your top target at point guard?
Alexander Walker. I think he's probably everyone's top. He's point guard, shooting guard.
So yeah, Alexander Walker does not have point guard eligibility.
He doesn't. Oh, sorry. Top point guard play, probably. Let's go. I'm just gonna stick Lonzo Ball at 4,400. I like him. I like correlating him with Mobley. I like Peyton Pritchard outside of that too.
All right, next up on the list, FanDuel GPP. Give me a center for 7K or less. Got to make you go over to the FanDuel side of things. Who do you like at center for 7K or less?
Jock Landale. Does that work?
Well, I mean, I think Landale is 4,300, so they'd be leaving about $3,700 or $2,700 on the
I don't have FanDuel pricing in front of me. I can Claxton probably. What's Claxton?
Jared Allen, Jalen Duren, Alex Sarr, Onyeka Okongwu.
Jalen Duren, why not?
He is the guy that is projected the highest of this group. Thoughts on Wemby and Şengün in a lineup together tonight? Absolutely love both of them in a lineup together. So, like, I want to play. I'm playing as much Wemby as possible, but I'm still probably going to have a Şengün, a Mobley, or an Anthony Davis in all of the lineups I'm playing with him. I'm just going to be mixing and matching from that perspective. After that, thoughts on the Thompson brothers together. You brought up them earlier, but for those who tuned in late, what are your thoughts on Amen and Osar Thompson playing against each other tonight?
Yeah. I think I like Amen more than Osser, but they're definitely both in play and probably two of my favorites from their respective teams.
People asking in chat about Tyus Jones. Some people like him. Some people asking others why we would like him. As my dog just falls off of my lap here. He's cheap and he played over 20 minutes in his first game. That's really the only reason. It's a potential cheap value play that allows you to spend up for guys like Wemby. But the Crunch Time crew has assembled. It's time to bring them all in. We got Beer, we got Kevin Roth, and we have Taylor Smith. Haven't seen Taylor in a while. Gonna be nice to bring him back. Let's bring him on in.
Roth, heard you won the 250K last night. The other night.
Yeah, I should keep getting shit for that for the rest of the week.
Oh yeah,
How do you feel about that?
the rest of your life, Roth.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Roth?
It's a first for me. I've never actually won a tournament, and to win a tournament and only get $100 when I could have won 200 grand didn't feel great, Bobby. It still
Do you
stings.
tell
a
your
little bit.
wife?
Say what?
Do you tell your wife?
No. Yeah.
Don't tell your wife.
Yeah. I said, hey, I won $100. Oh, wow. You're so smart. Great job. I was like, yeah, I'm an idiot. And I put it in the wrong tournament and cost us 200 grand.
Yeah, do not tell her that.
Yep. Yeah. Left that part out.
Yeah.
It's all you, man. I got nothing else in the tank. That was we got an hour 15 minutes, but it's on a slate when there's no in NBA, we don't do the tiers. There's not as many things to pass the time. Dean's got a tough job, Roth. I got nothing in the tank. It's all you.
Okay. Well, I can carry us to lock. Good stuff as always. TJ and Bobby, we appreciate you. And for everybody that is tuning in, welcome to Crunch Time. You know the drill. It's two of the sharpest minds in the industry, hanging with my guy Beer yet again. Has it been every show or damn near
3 days in a row? I'm seeing you more than I see my wife. Speaking of
lucky
wife.
you, man. Lucky you.
I'm not complaining.
Always good to have you. Hey, shout out to J3 in the chat who says Kevin Roth is by far the best basketball player at Roto Grinders. That is true, and that includes my boss who played basketball at Duke. But numero uno right here.
Yeah, he's kind of getting up there in years, so I think you have that on him right now.
Yeah, he hasn't dribbled a basket. He literally hasn't dribbled a basketball in 15 years. He's got no shot. We got Taylor Smith in the house as well, the enlightened one. I don't
Never heard that before.
I just came up with it, but I like it. What's up, Taylor? How are you, man?
I'll take it. Pretty good. Haven't been on in quite a while. I was in hibernation all summer, but hoops are back, so I'm back as well.
Very good. Well, we are always thrilled to have you. I really always appreciate your insight. And yeah, it's been, 6-7 months since I saw you last. So good to see you. And looking forward to diving into this slate. TJ says Roth might be good at basketball, but I would have won the 200K. Oh, he says, but I have won 200K. Yeah, this is all accurate. Let's dive into it here. Let's talk about the slate in general. And Taylor, I'm going to let you go first. Before we go position by position, starting FanDuel, then DraftKings, then we'll give you all the answers to your questions. Taylor, breaking down this slate, what stands out to you?
Yeah, so it's a Wemby slate. I think that is kind of the decision point that stands out most of all. I don't think ownership projections really can account for how much people want to play Wemby. So he projects for like moderate ownership. I think it might be twice as high, and I don't think it's wrong if it is twice as high. There's some news we're waiting on. The Knicks have a couple of guys. John Morant is questionable. That's probably the biggest one. And then we have 4 more games on FanDuel than we do on DK. DK splitting up its slate again. So different slates on both sites.
Beer, as you're building here, whether you're talking FanDuel or DK, is there anything that stands out to you?
No, I was going to mention the 2 different slates. I'm sure everybody has noticed that by now. We have some teams on back-to-backs, some older teams on back-to-backs, so certainly something to keep an eye on. And we have some big spreads as well. So there's some players that are garnering a lot of ownership that's in a good matchup. Are we going to get 4 quarters out of them? I have some questions on.
Yeah. Okay. Also, just noticing all 3 of us with the wired headphones. I'm proud of us. Consistency over style, right? Function over style. Gentlemen, let's talk about the slate in general. Game by game, position by position is the way we typically do it. We start over on FanDuel and we start at the point guard spot. And Beer, I'm going to let you have first crack at it. What do you got?
So a lot of good options tonight. Obviously a big slate. So FanDuel, we have 4 more games, 8 more teams worth of options. So it looks like there's going to be a couple highly owned guys. James Harden is looking like he may be 40% in tournaments. Makes sense. Good matchup with Phoenix. Pretty high total in that game. 8,200 is way too low of a price for him. So he's a solid cash game option. I don't know that I want to buy into 40% ownership in tournaments. Donovan Mitchell, a guy I was talking about with blowouts. I mean, Cleveland's 11.5 point favorites in this game. Brooklyn is just going to be bad all season long. So it's a great spot for him. He may very well get there in 3 quarters, but at potentially 30% ownership, he's a little concerning as well. So I wanted to cover the highly owned guys over on FanDuel, and I'm not really a fan of either tonight. So Davion Mitchell, Roth, we kind of poo-pooed you the other day on Davion Mitchell, and he came out and played well. So really like him tonight. Really good price on him at 5,300. I don't think we've seen the best of Davion Mitchell. He was phenomenal at Baylor, finally kind of getting a role here. So solid projection on minutes for him here tonight. Drew Holiday, kind of in that same vein. It's too cheap right now over on FanDuel. He should probably be in the mid 6s. You're getting him in the mid 5s. And a high-end pivot I really like tonight is Trae Young. If everyone's going to go to Harden, Mitchell, he's kind of sandwiched between those two at a fraction of the ownership. So, Orlando, we'll see. They played a lot faster. The defense wasn't as solid in that first game. It's a 1-game sample. Normally a matchup I avoid, but I think Trae Young looks like a great tournament option tonight at potentially under 15% ownership.
Okay, very good. Taylor, your thoughts, FanDuel point guard.
Yeah, we have Luka on FanDuel, which is pretty interesting. He's not projecting for much ownership at all. So it's not hard to get over the field on the 2% projected we have right now. They're playing Minnesota, so not a great spot, but Luka without LeBron, just going to be the hub of that offense for a while. So he's expensive, but it's something I'm always going to do in a tournament. I'm always going to have someone, at least some of a guy like that. I agree on the Harden ownership. 82 is cheap, but the Clippers kind of do have a lot of mouths to feed this season. 45% on a 11-game slate seems like a lot for James Harden. So I see it. I kind of want to get away from it. I think Amen Thompson is a very interesting mid-range play again. Still no Van Vliet, obviously. No more Jalen Green, no more Dylan Brooks. So, he has to deal with KD, but he's kind of looking for his own shot a little bit. He's playing more of a distributor role, so I don't mind that at all. And then we have to keep an eye on the Memphis thing with Morant questionable. Someone like Cam Spencer, Javon Small could step into a pretty big role. They're both quite cheap. Luke Kennard, someone popping into some builds a little bit with Atlanta missing Kristaps Porzingis and somebody else, Risa Shea, out tonight. So if you're looking for value, I think Kennard is okay.
You mentioned some value. We were kind of pending injury news in one of those games, and I think it was with Spencer. I'm playing that dude currently. Is he an only play if?
Yeah, probably. We have him at 11 minutes right now with Morant projected in, so pretty dicey if Ja plays.
Okay, so I may try to make a little pivot there, and we'll see what happens. Let's go to shooting guard. Taylor, what do you like there?
Yeah, so a lot of the same guys you can play. Harden, Donovan Mitchell, both point guard, shooting guard, Amen Thompson, Luke Kennard. Don't mind Grayson Allen, not the most comfortable, cheap guy, but Jalen Green is out. Phoenix just kind of has some minutes to go around in the backcourt. He's 5K flat, and there really isn't a lot of awesome, cheap value on this slate beyond guys like Kennard as of now. We saw Miles McBride is starting for the Knicks. I don't know who he's starting for. I don't think we've actually gotten the news on who might be out for New York, but either Hart or Towns or both is presumably out in that scenario. I don't think McBride is a great play, considering he's not going to get a ton of usage with the starters, but cheap. Boston's not the defense they were before either. So I think he's okay if you're kind of bargain shopping there. Devin Vassell in the mid-range, Shaden Sharp on FanDuel is okay in the mid-range. I also really like Devin Booker. No Kevin Durant, no Bradley Beal for the Suns anymore, no Jalen Green, as I said. Clippers, not a great matchup on paper, but sub 9K, going to have all the usage. I like that quite a bit.
Sure. By the way, getting a note here, Ja and KCP game time decisions. So we were going to have to go down to the wire on that one. Beer, shooting guard, what do you like on FanDuel?
Again, I'll probably avoid Harden and Mitchell. There's I think you can save at this spot. Our boy Cam Thomas let us down the other night, Roth.
You ain't kidding. Good Lord.
And yeah, it was bad. Him and Michael Porter Jr. So I'm okay going back to the well here. A horrible matchup with Cleveland, but somebody's got to score the basketball there. So this is not a team that's going to score 50 points. So he's projected under 10%. And he pops in a lot of optimals. So don't be afraid to go back to him in some tournaments. Derek White, I think, is a great play. Again, he's going to have to do a lot without Jason Tatum. Can't be all Jaylen Brown. So he's a solid option tonight. Stephon Castle looked really good. I know we're all excited about Wemby, but Castle was great as a distributor, kind of stuffed the stat sheet for the Spurs the other night. So really like him tonight. Dylan Harper on that same team, I think. We talked about the other night, Roth. Rookies that are cheap, their role is going to continue to grow. He played a pretty big role in that first game. So he is solid value tonight. Jalen Wells is a solid option. And you can utilize Jaylen Brown here as well, as we'll get to small forward. But I think he's a solid play as well. Okay,
very good. Let's go to small forward. Beer, there are so many guys in this like 7K range that I want to play, and I can't. And I'm struggling for some value, and I'm hoping we can find some somewhere, but go through your favorites here, small forward.
So Cooper Flagg going to be popular. I was hoping, he didn't do a whole lot in that opening game and people would bail on him, but the price is too good here. And
yeah,
he goes from that matchup to a spot with Washington. I mean, this should be a spot that he's able to really get it going. He's got that first game out of the way. He really pops here. So I know he's going to be super highly owned. Cash games, he feels, I don't want to use the word lock, but feels like a really good option in your cash games. In tournaments, I'll have some as well. It's just such a good spot for him. So there is value here, Roth. You can go to Miami. Jaime Jaquez is just 4,300. Grayson Allen at 5,000, I think, is decent value here tonight. So Jalen Wells, as I mentioned, in shooting guard at 4,500. Those are all solid value plays tonight. Osura Thompson going against his brother here. That should be interesting to see how the brothers play together. But he's not showing a ton of ownership, so I like him as well. But Jaylen Brown, probably my favorite, and then I like saving on guys like Jaquez, Grayson Allen, and Jalen Wells.
Good stuff. Taylor, your thoughts there at small forward?
Yeah, I think Beer kind of hit it for the most part. I think Jaquez, like you said, is a really good value off the bench, presumably off the bench for Miami. 4,300, played 30 minutes in the opener. I like that a lot. Wiggins on the same team, still no Tyler Hero for them, so a lot of usage to go around. He's someone who's going to pick up a little bit. I think his usage was like 29% last season with Hero off, so still a bit too cheap, more so on DK than FanDuel, but playable on both. I mentioned Vassell. I never mind getting to Denny Avdia, kind of one of these late night games that might go overlooked a little bit. He's got a huge role. Portland's team's a little bit different than it was at the end of last year when he was crushing every night, but still kind of that stuff where I like him too. Lauri Markkanen, don't mind in the mid-range either. We saw Utah kind of go off the other night, not really expecting that to be the norm, but he's affordable. We know he's going to get usage with the Jazz as long as he's active before they start tanking. So don't mind that at all either on this slate.
All right, let's go to power forward. What are you doing, Taylor?
So we have Flagg here. We have Wiggins. Same stuff. Evan Mobley is popping into almost every optimal at 8-3 on FanDuel. They're playing Brooklyn, which is a game with a lot of blowout risk. The Nets are quite terrible, but no Garland. I think DeAndre Hunter might be out or doubtful, possibly. So usage to go around for the Cavs. Mobley is just too cheap for the matchup, especially. So even in 30 minutes, I think he can deliver for you at 8-3. Bam Adebayo never really shows a consistent ceiling, but do like the spot for Miami in general against that shorthanded, kind of fast Memphis team. Zion, I think, has a core play tag from Noto on both sites. The matchup against Wemby is interesting. Like, you would think Wemby would kind of take away what Zion gets in terms of paint points and stuff, but he is playing a pretty good facilitator role, so he's not fully scoring dependent. I think he's totally fine. And then Wemby on FanDuel does have power forward, so it'd be kind of remiss to ignore him over there.
And as far as just watching basketball, like that Wemby versus Zion matchup, like that's top tier, right? That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, the Pelicans also don't have any centers, which is probably helpful to Wemby's cause. They signed DeAndre Jordan, but he's not going to play tonight. So it's like Derek Queen, presumably starting for the Pelicans. It could get pretty ugly for him.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. Beer power forward, what are you doing?
Wemby, moving on.
Yeah.
No, and Taylor brought it up. Who's going to stop him is my question. And it is an interesting, you have the alien against the bully, the big thick dude against the 7'7" freak of an athlete. So that one's going to be fun. Can't wait to get an eye on that game. But I like Miami here. I think there's layers of it. Taylor brought up Bam Adebayo. I agree. We don't always see a ceiling with them, but Memphis very vulnerable in the paint. So Andrew Wiggins is a step down from that. And you could even go further and go Nikola Jovic for some value at 4,300. I actually like Derek Queen tonight, 3,900. I think he's going to have to play some minutes here. And this is a highly touted prospect. So I think he's a good way to save some money, maybe pair him with Wemby and eat away at some of that cost. So you get both of them at about 16,000. So I think he's a phenomenal value play. Sabonis is back tonight, so he is interesting for Sacramento. Don't think he'll garner a ton of ownership either. And then I do love the Denny Avdia call. I have a bunch of him. Mobley, I am eating some of the chalk there. I'm a little bit more bullish on him than I am again with Donovan Mitchell in that same game. So I do have some Mobley, and of course you could play Cooper Flagg at this spot as well.
Okay, let's go to center.
So Mobley can slide here at Adebayo, a lot of similar names. Derek Queen, try to give you some different names. Donovan Clingan, not a great opening game, but good price here. Undersized Golden State team. He pops for me pretty well. Nick Claxton, not a good matchup with Cleveland, but going to be low owned tonight. So I do like that for him. And Santi Aldama, if you're going to play him, it's on FanDuel. I think he's 7,100 on DraftKings. So he is power forward center eligible. 5,100 over here. So you're getting more of a discount here. And we'll keep an eye on Cat. If he's in, he's always going to be in my player pool, even a spot against Boston. It's not the same Boston team. I think he could potentially be low on with the late injury news.
Yeah. Taylor, let's go to center. What do you think Wemby's ownership is? We've got him at 7%. I have a rule. If he's on the slate, I play him. Are there others like me and it's going to come in higher than that?
Yeah, I think everyone wants to play him, kind of like I was saying earlier. And it can't account for that. Like, he's fun to play. He might have leveled up this season, obviously based on game one. He's not trying to be Steph Curry anymore. He's actually going to use his height to his advantage. So, and in this, like, he torched an Anthony Davis, Derek Lively front court 2 nights ago, and tonight he gets Derek Queen and the Pelicans without Yves Missi or anybody else. So I think it might be closer to 30%. Like, the power forward eligibility on FanDuel really helps. So pretty easy to squeeze in there. There's enough value to make it happen. And he might not be this cheap again. He's 12K on FanDuel, and this might be the low point the rest of the way. Yeah. So I think you just play him. You can play him at power forward. It's like Flagg, Mobley, Wemby is probably the chalk threesome at power forward / center. And I have no issue with that, even into significant ownership.
Okay, I've got a couple quick questions. Of course, we want to kick it to DraftKings, but any interest in Okongwu? What about Bay with Missy out? Taylor, any thoughts on either of those guys?
Okongwu is probably starting, but he's kind of priced up already. Like, we didn't really get a discount on him with Porzingis out. He's mid-6s on both sides, and the matchup against Orlando is kind of bad, so I'm not super into that. I do like Bay. I think more so on DK. He's more useful, like 4,200 or so. I think he's fine on both sides, but more of a DK play, I think, for me.
Okay. Very good. I do want to bring it over to DK. I have so many dudes in my lineup right now that I do not want. Cam Spencer, some guy named Ronald Holland. I've got Queen, and that was an upgrade. I've got Cam Whitmore. Like, I don't want to play these dudes. So I need to find some value. I will be listening. I know who I want to play on, on the upside. I know I want the Wembys and the Amen Thompsons, but I'm going to need some help here. So let's start it off. Taylor, point guard. What are you doing on DK?
So on DK, Flag does have point guard, small forward eligibility now, which makes him pretty easy to get into lineups. He's 71, so he's not as cheap as he is on FanDuel, but like Beer said, the matchup against Washington is just a lot better than it was against San Antonio a couple nights ago. His ownership looks like it's going to be pretty significant, just not quite as high as it is on FanDuel, so I think he's fine. If you want to go cheap, Tyus Jones is getting some attention at 3.5 for Orlando off the bench. A chalk backup Tyus Jones doesn't sound super fun because it probably isn't super fun, but he is a decent per minute guy. Atlanta was awful defensively in the first game. Make of that what you will based on a one-game sample, but I do like Orlando in general tonight. Luke Kennard, like I said, on FanDuel, possibly starting for the Hawks with 2 starters out of the lineup. Donovan Mitchell on the high end you can play. Obviously, we don't have like Harden and stuff because we don't have the late games over here. Luka as well. So I kind of think you're looking more mid-range. Stephon Castle is another one at 6'8", who looks pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Beer, your thoughts at point on DK?
Yeah, I agree on Tyus Jones. I mean, 3,500 is good value. 35% owned is a little concerning. So I think there's some value plays you named, Roth, that I like Queen. I like Holland. We'll get the adjustments on the other guys, but I like Kennard as a pivot. So I'm glad Taylor brought him up. 3,800 point guard, shooting guard eligible. I think he's a solid play tonight. I like Castle over here as well at 6,800. Jalen Brunson, I think 8,400 is solid value. Shouldn't see a ton of ownership. We mentioned Derek White and FanDuel, playable over here as well at 7,900. And then Taylor mentioned Cooper Flag. You could slot in here if you didn't like the point guards. I think there's plenty of options. I would use him at small forward before I use him at point guard. And I'm going to bring up Trae Young again. Just one of those guys that's going to be low owned, and we know the ceiling if he gets it going. So looks like 4 or 5% owned tonight for Trae Young.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to shooting guard. Beer already. Olu in the chat says, what about Naw? And that was one of those guys I initially had in my lineup. I pulled him out. But what are your thoughts at shooting guard? And are you playing any Naw?
I don't have much, so not a play for me, but I see the appeal. So Castle, again, I'm going to keep bringing up. Point guard, shooting guard eligible. Kennard. I think Najee Marshall is a decent value tonight at 3,700, especially if this game gets out of hand. I think you could see some of these, second-tier Dallas guys get some extended run. So he's intriguing. Trey Murphy is interesting tonight. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is only 4K. So I think this is a spot you can really save some money. I mean, there's fine spend-up options here as well, but there's pretty good value on the slate tonight as well. Dyson Daniels, another name, didn't do anything the other night. I don't mind going back to him either.
Very good. Taylor, your thoughts at shooting guard, please.
Yeah, so we did get the Atlanta lineup, and Alexander Walker starting over Kennard.
Oh, here we go.
So I do think he's a much stronger play now. Now that we know he's starting, he's guard forward as well, I think. So that's useful. Going to get pretty chalky, but given the lack of awesome cheap value, I think he's totally fine. I do like Trey Murphy in the mid-range. I feel like 6'7" on DK is pretty light for him, especially with Zion pulling a lot of ownership. I think Murphy's not going to be unowned, but that's a decent leverage play off of Williamson there. Cedric Coward is someone getting into some lineups for me. He'll look better if KCP and or Morant are out for Memphis, but he had a roll off the bench in game 1 with both of those guys in anyway. So don't mind taking a shot on him at a cheap salary. Najee Marshall, I agree with that call as well. Castle, Donovan Mitchell on the high end, but I think I prefer Mobley among the expensive Cavs. And then I think Alonzo Ball, shooting guard only for some reason, but cheap, no Garland for Cleveland. Not a bad tournament play.
Okay, very good. I believe that brings us to power forward. Taylor, what do you like?
I think we're at small forward.
Small forward.
Sorry,
Yep.
my bad. I'm
No worries.
reconstructing my lineup, but I did it. You guys helped me out, and I got the weird, awkward value out and got some better value in. So thank you.
Glad to hear it. A lot of the same guys you can play at power forward and small forward, but Andrew Wiggins, like I said, too cheap on DK at 5'8" for his role without Hero. PJ Washington, not 3K flat, but 5K flat is still pretty light for him. So he's not going to be 90% owned like he was the other day, but should still be decently popular. Cooper Flag, you can play here. I mentioned Sadiq Bey being a pretty good value. Jaylen Brown, kind of interesting on the high end. I think people are going to save here in general. I think Flag might be the one that most people just spend on at small forward and move right along. You can play Alexander Walker here. And then Keldon Johnson, maybe a decent tournament play, but never feel too confident about him.
You just really never know what you're going to get from old Keldon.
Yeah.
Beer, small forward, what are your thoughts?
So Alexander Walker starting, phenomenal value at 4K. So that's cash games, GPPs. I don't see his ownership going too crazy even with that announcement. So I like him. There is a lot of value here. So I think, like Taylor said, probably what people are going to do, maybe they get up to Cooper Flag, but it's going to leave some name behind. So as far as value, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaime Jaquez, Najee Marshall, a lot of carryover here, Sadiq Bey, all in that 4 to 5K range. High end, I agree with Jaylen Brown. I think he's a good play. And then there's going to be guys that go overlooked. Franz Wagner at 7,600 isn't going to carry a ton of ownership, so he's interesting. OG Anunoby had a big game. We know he's a stat stuffer. He's 6,400. So there's options, whether you want to spend plenty of cheap options here or some higher end guys, Jaylen Brown, Franz Wagner, that are going to go overlooked.
Yeah. Wagner is a guy I'm high on, not just the first game or this game, but like all season. I'm fully in on that. All right. Power forward. Beer, what are we doing there?
So Evan Mobley over here, 8,400, shouldn't be as highly owned. So I like him a little bit better on DraftKings, probably under 30%, I would guess, on him over here. I'm in the Zion. I think he's going to have a big year here this year. So he's 9,300, not cheap, but there is a lot of value to go around. Derek Queen, again, at 4K, interesting value. You can use Sadiq Bey here at 4,100. I like Wiggins. I don't know that I like the ownership over here. That price really stands out at 5,800. So cash game, sure. Tournaments, I don't know that I want to buy into that much ownership on him. Let's see who else on my list. Jalen Johnson should be low owned as well. Orlando, again, we're not sure. They're playing faster. It could be a different team than we're used to last season, and it may take some people a while to adjust to that. So I think you get him pretty low owned, and we know the upside that he possesses.
Yeah. Taylor, your favorites are power forward?
Yeah, Evan Mobley, like we talked about, PJ, Andrew Wiggins, Anthony Davis against the Wizards sounds pretty good.
Yes.
He still sort of got there in the first game, even though they got blown out and he didn't play too well, honestly. But he's affordable, especially compared to AD under 10K. So I like that a little bit. Love that Jalen Johnson call. I actually wrote in the survey that the Orlando, the bigs, the forwards rather, Banchero and Wagner, like the Hawks allowed 86 points in the paint in the first game of the season to Toronto. And I don't know how they're going to stop Banchero or Wagner from getting into the lane. Wagner is one of the best paint scorers among non-bigs as well. So it's a great spot for him. Love that call at small forward, and then Banchero at power forward, a very good play as well.
Banchero will stop himself from getting in the paint because he settles for mid-range jumpers all the time. So that's how that will happen. Let's go to center. What are we doing there?
Yeah, so Wemby center only over here. Just play him. I think we have him at like 12% ownership. I will take at least 2 times that for the field. Crazy. It's going to be higher probably. There are cheap options here. Steven Adams was getting some steam earlier. Don't really feel great about that. Derek Queen, I think, is a better play, just given the dearth of options the Pelicans have. There's foul risk, obviously, against Wemby. I think Derek Lively had 5 fouls in 10 minutes the other night. So there is downside with Derek Queen, but he is a good rookie and he's cheap. So I'm okay with that. I don't mind going back to Lively against the Wizards at the sub 5K salary in the tournament. Kind of otherwise, it's the same stuff with AD, Adebayo, etc.
Yeah. Okay. Beer, your favorite at the center spot. You're on that Wemby train.
Oh yeah, Wemby. There's plenty of value. We gave you 10, 12, 15 guys that are 3 to 5K, so it's easy to get them in there. So I would definitely encourage people that, especially at 12% owned, if he was 40, I could see pivoting. If you don't get there, Şengün looked phenomenal, and we're showing maybe under 5%, maybe under 3% ownership on him. So I think he's a phenomenal tournament play. He's a guy that can compete with Wemby and put up these 50, 60, 70 burgers. So if I'm not playing Wemby, I'm going to Şengün. If I'm not playing either of those, probably going a little bit cheaper. Evan Mobley, a little bit stepped down at 8,400. But I do think Queen is good value. Hunter Dickinson is kind of popping. Not super excited about that. I didn't think he was good in college. I don't know that he's going to translate, but there are minutes available for him. I would much rather play Derek Queen. Jock Londale, another guy that I'm not playing here for cheap. Steven Adams. Some of these guys I don't think you need. You want to roll in with Steven Adams against my Wembanyama? Like, yeah, you'll have some salary somewhere else, but I'm going to load up on Wemby, and I think Şengün's a phenomenal GPP option.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff, guys. We've got about 15 minutes until lock. That is plenty of time. I want to make sure you're getting the best deal in the industry. And while I do that, I will let you debate, because Alex says Taylor with the best mustache in the industry, ? Does he get credit for a mustache if he's got the full, beard happening?
It's solid.
I feel like if you get the mustache credit, it just has to be only stash, because I feel like there's more to the current facial hair.
Yeah, we need to zoom in here. It is kind of its own thing. It stands out amongst the rest, I will say.
Got some grays interfering and stuff. So
yeah.
I know the feeling, brother.
Yeah. Now, if we pop up Beer, you will see this is just full majesty all the way around. This is not just a mustache. He's going full on all the way. That is
embracing the gray and everything. Getting old here, but yeah, it's a solid stash. I think he's right though. If it's a stash, I mean, I've seen some good just mustaches. So
yeah, of course, Dean's. I don't know if we have Dean's.
Milk mustache.
If you haven't seen it, I don't know if it's something we can find and pop up.
There it is. I knew Steve would have it. I had no doubt we had that. So
I don't know how that happened. I don't understand.
Did he lose a bet? Like, how did that? I got to know the backstory. Yeah. He had to have lost the bet to rock that.
Dean, let us know. Let us know what happened. But it looked good, bud. It looked good.
Bring it back.
Bring it back, Dino. Hey, if you're looking for some DFS access, maybe you're just deep in the NFL streets and you're thinking, oh, okay, I want some NFL DFS access. Well, why not get more bang for your buck? Combo Pro. Instead of just getting one sport, why not get all the sports? For limited time, get your first month of Combo Pro for $79.99. That is only $5 more than the NFL DFS monthly subscription. So you're adding on all of the other sports. You're adding on basketball and hockey and video games and whatever else the hell else there is. There's a lot of them. You get all of that for just $5 more. And if you're not the type of person who wants to pay month by month, or maybe you don't want to do a whole season deal, well, you can check out our 3-day pass right now. We got a 3-day NFL pass, access to everything you need, lineup HQ, ownership percentages, Sims Lab, all of it. $9.99 for 3 days. So make sure you are checking that out as well. There it is. You can, it says learn more. You can do that. You can learn more. We've got 12 minutes until we hit the lock, and we got a whole lot of questions. So I hope you're ready. And we're going to start with a Yahoo question from Peterman. Beer, last piece, Nah or Schroeder?
I'm going to go with Alexander Walker, but that's tough.
Okay, very good. Lonzo, Taylor, I'm coming to you. Lonzo or McBride in a GPP?
Let's see. I think I'll go Lonzo. We don't have McBride projected that well, but we also don't have the news on the Knicks yet. So if Hart and or Cat are out, I assume his minutes and projection will come up. guessing we're getting that news in like 12 minutes. So if you can wait, I would just say, well, yeah, you can wait. So I would say probably McBride if one of those two guys are out, and Ball if those guys play.
Okay, very good. Taylor, right back to you. FanDuel cash question. It is a 2v2. Bam and Donovan Mitchell or Wemby and Davion Mitchell. Okay. Confused me, but I get it.
Was that a tournament or cash?
It was FanDuel cash, my bad.
Probably the first one. I don't know. I don't really want to tell people to fade Wemby because that feels awful. So pretty good problem to have. I would probably lean Wemby, but the first one is quite good as well.
Yeah. All right. We did just get some news that DeAndre Hunter has been ruled out. Is that something we were expecting, or is this a whole shakeup?
I was not expecting him to play, so it's not a surprise for me.
Okay. Taylor, anything we need to bump, or no, we've got it covered pretty well with that news already?
Yeah, it's Cleveland, so we might see like Dean Wade and Sam Merrill. I don't think it really affects anything.
Okay. Bill just saying, I think Wemby has a floor of 70 fantasy points. It kind of feels that way. Like
he got 70 in 29 minutes the other night, so
yeah,
maybe
it feels like he has 90 point, like not even, wow, that's incredible, and I would have never seen it coming. Like if he dropped 90 points, no one here would be fully shocked.
No, and he's seemingly going to attack more in the paint, which is smart.
Yeah.
You know, last season was a lot of threes. The other night, I think he took 2. So who's going to stop him? You know, off the dribble, in the paint, nobody. Like, and you can still get threes up.
Dribble.
Yeah. He'll still get a couple threes up because you have to respect his handles, and he can go around you. So yeah, that feels like, I would say 60 is a floor, but yeah, 70, 80. He's going to have some triple digit games. I promise you.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to watch. FanDuel, we're back with Schroeder. Falcor says FanDuel, Schroeder or Allen at shooting guard, Beer?
I'm going to go Allen.
Okay, very good. A few questions coming in the YouTube. By the way, if you haven't already hit the thumbs up for the fantastic content that's coming from these guys surrounding me, please do. The show is free. And the idea is that we're going to get a whole lot of eyeballs. The more you hit the like button, the more eyeballs we get, the longer we keep the show free. If the likes don't happen and the eyeballs don't happen, the show's going to go behind the paywall. So make sure you're hitting the thumbs up for us so that we can get the good word out to more and more folks. Scrolling up a little bit, see what we got going on. Oh, I love this question from JD. Beer, can you rank Bay, Queen, and Naw on DK? They're all like 4K value guys.
I will say Alexander Walker 1, Bay 2, Queen 3. I do worry. Taylor's point on the foul potential there is worrisome. I still like him, but I think the other two have a similar outlook and not quite the concerns.
Great. Taylor, got a question from Olu in the chat. He wants a good point guard, not a bad one, a good point guard, 5'5" or under on DK.
Well, the good point guards 5'5" and under are pretty limited supply.
Yeah, it's a tough range. If you can get up to Mitchell,
Harper,
I would say.
I guess Dylan Harper's okay.
Yeah, I like
5'1". Yeah.
All right. Flying Armbar says, thoughts on Walker Kessler tonight? I always want to play him, and he never ends up in my lineup. Taylor, can we play him tonight?
Let me see what he is. That's a FanDuel question. He is 7'6". I think that's a little steep. He was great the other night, but not really into that.
Okay. Cleveland Picker says, are we playing Naw at small forward or shooting guard on FanDuel? Beard, do you have a thought there or a choice?
Both are pretty deep. So, I mean, I'd probably like small forward a little bit better. So I would have him at shooting guard, but both positions are pretty loaded. So.
Okay. Jim says Bam or Boncaro in a DK GPP, Beer.
I'm going to go Bam, but that's close.
Can you just go
Franz
Wagner?
Bane there and Franz, and Boncaro doesn't have to be the whole show anymore. So
yeah,
Bam, they're a little light without Hero. So you worry about a ceiling, but I'll go Bam there.
Okay. Taylor, thoughts on Okongwu? I think we briefly mentioned it earlier in the show. What were your thoughts again?
He's kind of priced accordingly already. Like he's not really coming at a discount. He is starting though, so I can see why you'd play him. It's just not a great spot, not a great price. I think he's more of a large field thing than anything else.
Yeah. Javier just pointing out Queen had 3 fouls in 15 minutes last game, and now he's going up against Wemby.
Yeah. It's concerning for sure. He's kind of, the more we're talking, he feels like, the old sacrificial lamb, like we see in the NFL sometimes. Like, all right, you go run 50 routes against this top corner. Right. That's what it feels like. Here you go, youngster. Good luck.
Good luck. Have fun. Let's see. I like this question from Taylor. For Taylor from Alvin. 2 to 3 players you're building around FanDuel single entry. So Taylor, any position as you're looking at FanDuel, any value that you feel you can, this is your core that you're starting with?
I think for value, it's probably someone like Alexander Walker, and like Wemby. Wemby's a pretty good guy to build around, I would say. I mentioned earlier briefly, but I really like Devin Booker on FanDuel as a tournament play as well. But as far as like a core, it's probably like Wemby, Alexander Walker, Cooper Flag.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Just scrolling down just a little bit. Roth, who is your feel it in the plums play of the night? Let me pull up. I'm only playing one lineup. I didn't dive as deep as I usually do. How about Amen Thompson with a bounce back game? Triple-double for Amen. Give me like a 30-point triple-double for Amen Thompson, and he'll get, 50, 60 fantasy points coming for Amen.
Twin game narrative.
You gotta ramp it up against your brother. Although your brother knows all your moves. That is. Your
brother's a pretty good defender in his own right. So
yeah. No doubt. Let's see. Your favorite MLB MVP spot. Has anybody looked at baseball?
I kind of did. I think.
Oh, okay. Taylor.
Like Snell's going to be the chalk captain MVP or whatever. So I'd probably play Vlad Jr. or Springer or someone like that, and then just onslaught the Blue Jays with the run back Dodger bat.
How are you so ready for that? I'm impressed. That was
impressive.
It's a good answer, just off the dome. Less than 5 minutes until lock. Let me jump into the Discord. Make sure we're doing okay there. DK Cash, 3,700 last spot for a guard. See, this is where this is not a fun spot to be, Beer. DK Cash, $3,700 last spot guard. Najee.
I'd probably say Tyus Jones and Cash.
Okay.
We kind of poo-pooed him, but I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. All right. Beer, I'm making you work, man. FanDuel GPP, guard, shooting guard or point guard, 6,100 or less. Says I've got Simons in, but I don't like it.
I mean, I really like Davion Mitchell again. I really like Drew Holiday. They're a little bit below that threshold, so that may open up some things, but I have a bunch of both of those too.
Okay. Taylor, a few questions coming your way. One from Edgar, 4,700 DK Cash in the util. Who do you got?
Let's see. 4,700.
Holland?
Don't think so. Lonzo Ball, maybe?
I like Colin Roth, so if you're playing him,
he's there. He's locked in, so I hope so.
Maybe you'll deliver for him then. Yeah. Champagny, maybe?
Yeah. Let's see. Another $ question for you from Olu Taylor. Best 5K or under center. I think this is DK, but I don't know. Queen, Adams, Quetta, Lively.
Probably Queen in cash, and then I kind of like Lively for a tournament.
Okay. Beer Gridiron Beauties says, how about Fontecchio for DK at small forward?
I mean, it's all right, I guess. I'm not super excited about it, so I think there's better options. We gave you a lot of small forwards. He didn't come up on either list. So
okay. Beer, any interest in Keith's game plan, which is Şengün and Wemby, and load up with cheapies around them?
I don't mind that at all. I mean, your likelihood of winning with that. I mean, you really need both these guys. Got to go absolutely ham. You know, if they did what they did the other night, and you hit on some values, absolutely. So I like the ownership for sure. Şengün, again, I'm shocked that he's 2-3% owned.
Yeah. Taylor, a few questions for you. We are less than 2 minutes until hitting lock. Jaylen Brown birthday narrative. You in?
Yeah, I like him a little bit. I think we called him out as a good tournament play without Tatum and everybody else they used to have.
Okay. The question from Candace is, do you think Anunoby will play?
I think Hart is the one who's questionable, and Towns as well. So Anunoby, yeah, he'll play.
Okay.
But I don't know about Hart. If that's the question that they meant, I have no idea. But we're about to find out.
Okay. What else do we have? Marshall or Bay? DK GPP.
I'll say Bay.
I agree.
Right. Less than a minute here. Doing pretty good. Hey, if you haven't hit the thumbs up before you bounce, please make sure you do that on your way out. A like, a subscribe. That's a valuable button. And every time we pop on a show, it will alert you. It will let you know. Getting a lot of thanks, getting a lot of praise, getting a lot of good lucks out there. I hope that you are as successful as I was night one of NBA DFS, but a little more fruitful at the end of the night. I think we are going to clear on out of here. We have answered all of the questions, and we are coming up on lock. So we appreciate it for Taylor, for Beer, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.